Okay, so I feel like there's so many things I want to talk about. I feel really scattered because I feel like the same thing, how the energy just feels like it's just popping off. That's how I feel like inside of me, like everything's just like super chaotic feeling. And I'm not going to babysit today because the neighbor's too sick and can't go to work. So yesterday, though, when I did get there, because my daughter had never had time to look on her computer. So I borrowed their computer and I looked up my iCloud. And because it said on the their website or whatever that you could restore your stuff by going into a computer, go onto your iCloud, and then go to the little thing that says restore the information, and it would go back on. So I went on there to try it. It has, I could restore anything except for photos, apparently. It didn't even give the option to restore photos. So I don't know, because I had seen where it had, that's what the person was talking about. I mean, that's what I was looking up, to restore photos. And that's what I kept seeing people say to do. And so I don't know. I told my daughter and she's like, well, have you called Apple? Well, I haven't had much luck with that situation, so I was like, that's not really how I'm not feeling it for that. I feel like this is too bright. Oh, it feels better. I think I don't know, it's light. It really is great, though, because it's so dark in my house. Man, before I had this light, it was so dark. I put on every light. I'd be bringing out lamps and stuff. So anyways, this light is great, but man, it kills my eyes. So anyhow, what was I talking about? Well, anyways, I have a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. So, for one thing, this Earthling shampoo, I mean, my hair is fine, but it's really super thick. And so it can be really heavy. And, I don't know. I feel like it really feels dirty. The Viora one, I kept thinking it did, so I'm going to try it again. But right now, I feel like I prefer the other one, the Viore one. I don't think I want to buy this Earthling one again. It feels so dirty feeling. It doesn't, and it's so weird because it gets so sudsy. It's like weird. I don't know. Am I just used to having detergent hair or something? I don't know. Everything is like something to get used to. Last night I was like up all freaking night. Oh my gosh, because I took Stella over there to babysit with me. And so she starts running around, starts trying to chase the cat. She starts trying to play and do stuff. She fell 4 times at least. And she ran a couple times. She just completely stumble and just roll fall. Like, oh my God, it breaks my heart. And, I know she is shocked because she's used to feeling really powerful and she's feeling super weak. And I know that plays on her feeling about herself. I can pick up on that stuff. And another thing, yesterday, because dogs and kids and animals, bugs, when they all come around you, like when they say, oh, you're high vibration. And I keep seeing more and more stuff. I want to talk more about the pictures thing, but let me say some of this little stuff. So, I keep seeing people like really going off on different communities, the spiritual community, the witch TikTok and spiritual TikTok. Like I said, they've built some sort of community where there's certain people and they developed that kind of Lord of the Flies kind of hierarchy or something. Like I'm not really sure, but I keep seeing where people are talking about how they are causing so much pain and suffering and struggling in all these people who are awakening, who are trying to figure out what's going on. And then these leaders in the spiritual community are with their arrogance and ego and you just have to do this. I've already transcended this world. I'm living up in the 5D, it's up to you. And just turning a lot of this stuff and it's really freaking people out and getting people like scared and distraught. People really believe they're going to be stuck in the 3D while all these other people are transcending it. And it's like, I told you, there's a whole group of people. I can't even tell you how many times I keep seeing it. This whole group of people who on, I think it's the 27th, that you're supposed to put it in your phone, or a guy in a red cape is going to come to your house. Like, I don't even know some of this stuff, but it's something about the 01010110. It's the 01, or is it 10? No, it's 0101, then a 0, then 2 ones, and then a 0. So it's a repeat of 2 numbers, and then anyways, there's some big thing about this number that everybody thinks they're leaving the matrix. You know, and you've got all these other people who totally believe in the rapture, and, you know, that's what's happening. So to me, this is, everything is resetting just like it has in the past, where people are finding like Tartaria and the mud floods and stuff. Like right now, Pakistan is under mud. Like all these places are going under mud as they're flooding them. The floods there's so many floods right now on the whole southern border of the United States. They're about to be hit with a storm coming from each direction, and these 2 storms are supposed to meet in the middle. And see, that's what they do. They create these impacts of these two weather, what are those things called? The weather programs, these weather systems. So they get these 2 weather systems to collide and create this horrible situation, which they've already got floods going. And I didn't even think about this. I just heard somebody talking about it. It's like that spreads out the alligators. I mean, when you're down there at the coast like that, it would spread out. You know, sharks and stuff can come in a lot further, but definitely the alligators. I'm horrible fear of alligators, so like, that just freaks me the fuck out. But anyways, so I think even on Katrina, I think there was alligators that were up there in the water. I think it seems like that was part of the thing why people were, well, they had to be up on top of their houses and stuff because they were underwater. But I swear there was things swimming around some of those people. But then, you know, all that footage that you know, well, we couldn't know what was going on there. They were in mass murdering and kidnapping like a fucking fool. That's what they do, you know. They've done it and done it and done it. And we've witnessed it and witnessed it and witnessed it. And we've accepted and accepted and accepted these horrible things and thought that was a part of life because they convinced us that it was, and it wasn't. It was them doing it to us, and they're just mean. But, you know, the thing is they know. That's the thing. They know. They know we're souls. They know we chose to come here. We made our own stories. We wrote our own stories to come into this hellacious place. So they know that they can't do anything to us that we haven't already authorized. It's just impossible. It's like you can't kill somebody before their time is up. It's impossible. It is a defined thing. Like, I don't think, I really don't think, even when people commit suicide, I think that people already knew they were going to commit suicide. Like, I don't know if people really do take themselves out of their contract. I've heard that there is that where people take themselves out of their contracts by doing themselves in, and then they are faced with all of that. But that would cause such utter chaos in the whole system, because we are a system. We are all playing a role in this system. So it would put things so out of sync. So I don't know if that would even be possible. I think everything is known, and because everything is contracted, because you just think about it, like, how, if you got to learn your lesson with this person, then how would that person come in? What if you learned it with the last person? Like, it's all structured. It's all completely defined. That's why the whole thing about destiny and fate, and it's out of our hands. And that is one thing. So I'll scoot back to the pictures real quick. So when I very first lost it all, you know, especially because I was talking to Amber, and she's also, I don't know, she would be classified for sure as a conspiracy theorist, because she talks about things that other people think don't exist. So you know, we can talk about that kind of stuff. And so she had just told me that all her stuff had been taken off of iCloud and her phone and stuff. Her stuff was snatched. So I went and checked my stuff and it was fine. And I was like, oh, phew, that was a close one. Like, because I know that there was a reason why my phone was glitching the way it was. I mean, it made no sense. Even when I said, you know, it went to 512, like that makes no sense how the space grew on my phone by itself. And so, and how 2 terabytes, like, and it will still not let me change my data thing. I keep trying to go down. Now that it's empty, it won't even let me. So I just feel like somebody's got a hold of my account, kind of, you know, like they do on my social media. They're completely held. It is freaking crazy. I used to, when I would go on TikTok, I would see myself over and over and over and over and over again. When I would be going through the thing, I would pop up constantly. I haven't seen myself in weeks. I haven't seen my own videos. So, you know, they put some sort of restriction. So I don't know. I mean, they can do things obviously far beyond what we can understand. So I think that they've done something to my phone, and I think that they took this stuff on purpose. And so when I went on and looked, and it was all there, and I felt safe, you know, and I was checking, and so then I started doing some other things, thinking, okay, well, I'm safe. You know, I don't need all this space now. I don't have hardly anything on my phone or in this thing. And I felt like I kind of fixed the glitch or something. So I was trying to reduce the amount of space that I was going to use on the iCloud thing. And it wouldn't let me. It wouldn't let me. It wouldn't let me. And I had to reset my password. And so when I reset my password on my Apple account, that is when the weird thing, it was like my phone did some weird kind of glitched out or something. And then so I went on and looked and everything was gone. I was just like, what in the fuck? So then, you know, when it very first happened, it was like every chemical in my body took over. I couldn't even think. I couldn't focus. I felt so overwhelmed by emotions. I was like beyond wanting to cry. It was so devastating. Like all of that work that I had done over all of these videos that I've done on here, and they were just gone. All of the pictures, like I could get over some of the pictures of vacations and stuff like that. It's like, you know, how many times are you going to really go back and relive those moments? But the pictures of Stella when she was a baby, and just moments with my kids and stuff, and Stella's baby videos and all that stuff to be gone. And a lot of the pictures, I know I can get them back off of like my kids' accounts or something, of ones with them. So that didn't stress me out as much as the ones of Stella. I was the one who was doing them, and now they were all gone. And all of my own videos that I had been making for myself on here. So that was just like, oh my gosh. And so right away, my guides started guiding me, you know. It was like, and I think it is partly because I am listening, you know. So they started telling me, you know, like basically, get your shit together, Kelly. There's a reason. You know this. Nothing happens is not supposed to happen. Everything happens for a reason. If we didn't want this to happen, it wouldn't happen. But there's things that you need to learn. So, you know, there's things that have to play out a certain way. So this is, you know, and there is a lot of stuff that they have been teaching me and telling me throughout this journey of figuring this out with my phone and stuff, because of all of those days, just spending all that time deleting things and stuff and looking at old memories. And, you know, they would be telling me stuff, and it was really getting me in this whole thing of, you know, how we try and capture these moments. And then we get focused on trying to capture the moment instead of being present and living the moment. And then going back and looking, yeah, it was fun. You know, I feel really fortunate. And that was one thing too, when I was really getting, when it all went off, and it was gone. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to see that stuff again. And I started thinking about all these pictures, like these cool pictures I found of Stella with all these orbs, huge orbs, these two giant orbs. In every picture I would take, she had these two giant orbs like right by her head. And I I had all those pictures, like those are all gone. So I was looking, and I'm getting all of these emotional feelings about all these pictures, like, oh my gosh, that's gone, oh my gosh, that's gone. And they were telling me that that's why we had to go through them so many times for those days, doing all of that, deleting and deleting and deleting, because you got to relive that. You got to see it again. You got to remember all of those things, because all of those things would be gone. So you got to, remember them. And so I was like, well, that is cool. That is cool, because those things, I mean, some of those pictures were from like 2016. I'm positive 2016. I don't think it went as far back as 2014, but 2016. And that must have been when I got an iPhone. And so I had all of those pictures from that point on. And so I was, where they're just kind of being like, you got to relive those moments, but also you need to realize that, because they don't just tell me this stuff, like they show me and they give me the feeling, like I feel it. So it's hard to explain. So I say they're telling me, but some of the stuff is like, it all comes through me, like I feel it and stuff. So they told me that about this being present and in the moment, and that we need to stop doing that. That is, even going and looking at the pictures is like going back and living in the past. You're not in the present when you're going back and living in the past. And it is all about this, us trying to capture these moments, to relive this second in time, when we need to just continually be movement. Like water can't be like, well, I really like that time about it, a month ago. I'd like to go back and re-experience that. Water is in motion, it's in flow. And we have to be in that same way. We have to be in motion and flow to be really optimally running in life in our best direction. You get what I'm saying? And then we get caught up, we get held back. I got to go back and recapture this. I got to go back and, this person said this. I got to go back and tell them what I think. I can't believe how many people on TikTok have, some of the chaos is how defensive some people have become. They're just super, super defensive. And so then the defensiveness comes out as kind of aggressive bitterness, really. And they just come at people, like just their whole attitude. And it's like, dude, you're saying you're super spiritual, but if you're super spiritual, why are you being so triggered? Why do you keep being triggered by people? And like this one girl who, like there's all these people right now with the whole thing with school starting, and so much with all of these mom TikTok, I guess mom TikTok too. Somehow I get on those pages. It must be just people I follow that their hashtag pulls me into some of their algorithm. I don't know how it works, but anyways, I keep seeing all of these different moms discussing like public and homeschool and stuff like that. And I for sure say homeschool. I would never freaking, like, no way. And my whole attitude about what kids need to learn. I saw this one mom who she said that her and her husband live in a camper with their 3 or 4 kids. And so I guess there was comments, oh my God, I feel so sorry for your kids, blah, blah, blah. And your kids aren't whatever. Because then she went in, and I don't know. I mean, it's showing them. I don't know that she did a bunch of being defensive, going in and, arguing or yelling with these people or cussing them out or anything like that. But so she just showed her kids live, and she said, we don't live our life inside of the camper. My kids live out in nature. And so she showed all these videos, and it's how they learn. It's their education. Like, they go and see something, and then they go look it up. And so that's like hands-on learning. And that's what I believe is the way to go. Like all these people who think, even these homeschool people are all caught up in like what this time-consuming thing. It's not supposed to be like that. Educating your kids is like having them do some work, shadowing you, seeing what you do, how you run things, so that they can learn how to run things. Being honest with them and showing them, like, where you're messing up and how you can improve, so that they can learn these processes and really be real, and then have a good network around you, so they're learning from other people. And I mean, with the availability of books and stuff, I mean, teaching kids how to read and teaching them how to count and be able to add and subtract, so they don't get ripped off. It's like if you take in 10 oranges and somebody's bought, you need to teach certain things. And they can learn that stuff by going to the grocery store with you, or going out and doing the garden with you, and counting how many of these do we have, how many of these, and how many dinners are we going to make, and blah, blah, blah. Like, you just expand their abilities to understand how to process, because that's what makes somebody smart, is their ability to process and, what is that word called? Problem solve. So when they can figure out how to problem solve and, organize their own lives, that's the skills that they need. I mean, how many of us even remember the shit that we learned in school? It was just nonsense. It was just stuff to keep us busy while they babysat us, trying to indoctrinate us away from our families. Especially when I went to school, it was at the beginning of getting kids out of the house, getting the moms out of the house, and taking over for the parents and people's lives. Like, I wasn't, yeah, when that happens, it's so weird. I wasn't one of I mean, the indoctrination happening now is just mind-boggling. Like, there's no freaking way I would have my kids in school. And I see the after effects. And I was involved. Like, I went up to the school all the time. I was a room mother. I was doing stuff. I would go up and do things in the classroom and stuff all the time. So, but still, I wasn't there every day. I didn't listen. You don't know every time. When my one daughter, who, when they wanted her to go on medicine, and somebody was just talking about this with their kids, and this is why she was going to pull them out, because the school told her that she had to put her kid on attention deficit medicine, and I made the choice to do it and have her be in school. And then she turned around and told me the after effects of teachers making fun of her, like if she was doing something in class. Oh, did you go take your medicine? Like, a constant humiliation, kids laughing at her, and, like, she could be out on the playground and do something. Oh, did you take your medicine? It was just constant harassment and stuff like that. And that's some bullshit. And then they say, oh, well, those kids end up, on drugs and pregnant at an early age. Yeah, I wonder why. Couldn't be that they're at school being harassed and bullied, and even by the teachers. Like, I can't believe how many teachers had bullied her and harassed her. And so I wasn't there. I didn't see all that stuff. But now that my kids are older and I do see the after effects, there's no fucking way. And the whole thing of what there is that they're trying to teach kids, it doesn't fucking matter. There's shit that they're trying to teach. And just the indoctrination and plus the agenda behind it. They just want these kids to have no identity and no abilities. It's sad, And yesterday when I was babysitting over there, I was really glad that those girls just were playing in fantasy all day long, just coming up with all sorts of stuff and just, playing their little fantasy games. I was like, that's what kids need. That's the development of their consciousness, and they want to keep people repressed and dependent on screens and stuff. So, it is, there's a lot of stuff for people to learn. It boggles my mind every time I see stuff like the misdirection, even on the vibration stuff, where these people who are out saying, they're high vibration. Well, please explain. What are you talking about, your high vibration? And I did go in and explain what high vibration was. And it is when you feel good about yourself, when you are healed, And so you go out and present in the world as a kind and considerate person. You make eye contact, you're helpful, you're smiling at people, you're talking, you're putting out a high vibration. You are creating a high vibration where you go, and it feels good to people because people aren't used to it, because everybody's so blocked off in their own pain and suffering that we have forgot to connect. And this is why the awakening is occurring, to pull us all into this collective consciousness, and that we are the creators of this new existence that is to come. And there's just so many people who just don't understand. And it is like this constant awakening to this, awakening to this, awakening to this. Like there's this whole new rollout of people who are realizing that this has to do with an awakening. And, you know, like this, the awakening poster now, there's like several more. And it has everything explained. It has keys so you understand these charts and stuff. So this library of the awakening is expanding, and I guess you can look up these online and then you can order them. I saw it's crazy because like I'll see so many videos like this where this girl is like, oh my gosh, there's a Gitmo list. Did you know there's a Gitmo list? Like there's this list of these people and they're all gone and they're not telling us because they think we can't handle it, and like going through this whole thing. And it's like people just keep waking up to more and more and more all the time. Like I see it all the time where people are waking up, like to the sky stuff, the government stuff. That is so that's just full of a lot of divisive people and still intention, like really dependent on the government to save them. And the whole thing, even like with Trump and stuff like that, I was thinking about this yesterday because I had things that people are saying. And so this person was showing, you know, he hired Fauci and stuff like that. And it's like these people don't seem to understand that he had a role. His role was a catalyst in the awakening. So he had to bring the bad people onto the main stage. He had to bring them. He couldn't come out and say, hey, this person, you know what they do? Like I saw in the looking glass, you know what they're going to do to you? He couldn't come out and say that. People already thought he was fucking crazy. So he couldn't say anything like that. It is like the same thing as like when you watch those nature videos, and you know, I would sit there and go like, why are they going to let this happen? Why don't they stop it? They're showing you what happens in nature. They can't run out and stop the lion from eating the deer thing. You know, they have to allow this stuff to happen. We have to, well, we don't have to witness that. You know, we can turn it off like I did. But that is what he is doing. He's bringing these people to the main stage. These people who were back hidden in the shadows, who were corrupting our world with their evil fucking practices, like the Fauci. Like, dude, that guy was fucking evil, and I didn't never even fucking hear of him until this shit. I didn't know who the hell he was, and he has affected my life all the way back to when I started dating. He's the one who brought in that sickness. So this guy, we had to have these people come up and be on the stage, and he had to bring them to the stage. Do you think any of them are going to bring them to the stage? No. All they do is hide each other. You know, oh, you need to hide out. Come here. You know, they're always hiding each other, scratching each other's backs. They aren't there to let us know. They're there to keep the secrets from us. So they had to put somebody in who was going to expose them. And he kept bringing them up and giving them positions. And you see these people, well, see, he's a bad one because he gave them these positions. It's like, how do you not see what is going on? How do you not understand? Like, where is your thought process? How do you critically think? How do you logically expand your mind, your thinking? Like looking things through. And that is what blows my mind, is how many of these people, they just get so stuck. And there is such a huge group of people who still just go off all day long on Trump. It's like, I swear to God, I see people who are just like, oh my gosh, now you think these Trump people are going to see the truth? Now they're going to know the evil that they've been following and worshiping? It's like, oh my gosh, I You can see why this awakening has to happen, why this has to occur, why people have to be awakened to themselves. Like they're so blind to themselves, and they're just like clueless about what is happening. They have no idea why this is all happening. They all think that this is, I mean, so many people, it's the end of the world. So many people, it's, we're gotta escape the matrix. And they just don't understand that this is like a process. This is like the universe is creating a process. I mean, it's even talked about in the law of one. It talks about the harvest. I think it's talked about in the Sumerian tablets. It's definitely talked about by prophets and mediums and psychics and stuff. Like we all fucking know it's, well, some, I mean, just like I had said, there's these psychics and mediums and witches, like all these people out there who think that they've got all the solutions and all the answers, and then they're the ones leading people in the wrong direction. And they have people who are distraught, like they are creating people who are awakening and putting them in the wrong state of mind. And it's just so weird because, people like me, we're more hidden and more hidden in the shadows where they're not getting access. I can't even tell you, how many times I'll be like, somebody will come into my comments and be like, I don't understand why you're not blowing up. Like, this is weird. Well, I know why. It's because it's part of this cosmic occurrence. Like I said before, there's going to be a big shift. All of the people who are like me, who are talking from the heart and have really worked on their healing, really sat with their guides and really dealt with introspection and time to themselves and really have tuned in and paid attention, then there will be a shift, and the people who are misleading people will be exposed, and they're going to have to face themselves. And depending on, what the deal is, they may have to face others. There's a lot of people who are going to have to face others and answer to others for the choices that they made. So, but in that shift, it's going to go the other direction, where people who are, just authentic people who are out there trying to spread the message and help people really heal and really understand that this is not a time of fear. This is a great time of history. This is a blessed time. We're excited and lucky to be here. And I'll tell you another thing, because China is really going through it. And I think that we really need to acknowledge these people in China as the souls that have come in to martyr themselves to wake us up. I mean, what these people have gone through it's mental. And they are, like I said, there's going to be certain places that are going to be hit the hardest in different areas, and all of those places, those people have come in for their own experience and stuff, but some are so highlighted that it is part of the process of awakening. And they go through so much trauma. It's just like, wow, you just got to really give respect to some of these souls that go through so much trauma to just be a part of this awakening mankind. And it is because that is what this whole thing is about. Like, we've been coming in and playing these parts in, people can't imagine that they've done this. They can't, I mean, I fucking see spiritual people who just do not understand reincarnation, just do not understand about souls and coming back. Like, it's all so, but they're out there teaching other people, but they don't have a fucking clue about it. So, but in reincarnation, you choose your life and what you're going to come in and do. And now that I understand, about you're just a projection, you're just you're yourself watching yourself. It's just like a thought. That's all we are. Is like our higher selves creating a thought so it can witness itself in a situation. So we don't need to get all caught up in all of this stuff, but so many people are so caught up in the movie and freaking out, like, well, we gotta get out of the movie. How do we get out? We're gonna get out, yes, escape. And then other people, like, there's just so many things. There's so many things. of like how people see it. And it's just, and all I hear over and over and over in all these different things is how lost that they are. But we do come in on purpose to experience whatever things that we want to come in and experience through each age. And each age is an independent cycle, and each cycle does end. The cycles just don't go on and on and on. And so that's why we find our hidden history, because it is always buried, because it's just a reset. It's the cleaning the stage. It's a reset. And this whole thing with because there's so many people about this. I still see all these people with this pole shift, and it's like, well, I used to believe the pole shift, but then when I started believing that the earth was a flat, a stationary thing, then how can it have a pole shift? Well, it'd have to be an energetic pole shift. Is that going to be like we're going in one direction and then it suddenly switches and goes the other? Like in our own spiral. You know what I'm talking about? That I think it's really called the Fibonacci. I just saw somebody else say it, and I was saying Cabanucci, but I think it's Fibonacci. But it is that natural spiral, however you say it. It's the natural spiral of life, and we all have this spiral that is coming out of the top of us, and we are all in that movement, in that action all the time. Just like when I had said that I had left this reality that one time when they pulled me into that, it was the spin, that spin. And it wasn't like a void, because it was void of reality, but all realities were spinning around me. And I knew I could get off on any reality. And I just heard somebody else explaining something about that. That's weird, because they said that. That just crossed my mind, because I can't remember it all though, because my Swiss cheese, but it doesn't matter anyways. I mean, like I just, we all understand the things that we understand to the level we understand them. So I can understand how this place works different than someone else understands it. Like we all understand things differently. But I do think that people who are out trying to teach people about what this world is and stuff, they should have probably done some studying on some of this stuff. Hold on a sec. Hurry, please, I'm busy. I knew she's having such a hard time. I took her over there, and then the falling, she had a horrible night. She can barely walk. She's having a hard time getting up and down. Like, poor girl. So anyways, we have this spiral, and everything is in motion in the world. It's all movement, and it's all based on frequency and movement, and it's all atoms and light and all of that stuff. It's all just moving, and then we create this dream from our own energy so that we can witness ourselves in these elaborate experiences. And so anyways, all of these people just really don't understand what life is about. So they're so caught up in 3D idea of what life is about and about death and stuff. So they're all just like, I mean, there is some people who are really getting excited. They're really starting to see like, oh my gosh, we're really at a really exciting time. Like all of this shit is really ending. We're really going into something new. So if it is like the pole shift and the energy goes the other way, that makes sense to the pendulum swinging back. But I don't know if all of nature would swing back like that. Like I don't know about this whole pole shift thing anymore, but I know there's going to be a shift in the energy. Like everything is going to turn upside down. But I don't know if that means we're going to just be going, I don't know. Maybe it does, that we go back that way and we spin that way for a while and then it shifts and goes the other way. Like, I don't know. I think everything just keeps moving, going like that. So, but we are creating this cataclysm. So there's I saw today there's I think it's a NASA scientist, and they're not getting any play on this, obviously. But there's a whole bunch of them who are, this guy was crying. He was literally crying. And I guess you can look him up on YouTube if he hasn't been taken down yet. But he is saying, we're trying to tell you all there's a catastrophe coming. There's a giant catastrophe coming, and they're not telling you. No one's telling you. But we are creating the catastrophe. We are the creators of this catastrophe. It's our energy. And so I was thinking, well, yeah, I guess probably some scientists would be lost when it came to spirituality, because you have to cut yourself off from your own spirit to go against the ethics of God, a creator, not as God as a being, but the science is trying to manipulate the natural. So they go against the energy of creation. So they are trying to manipulate creation, just like how, like the witches, like some of these witches, they're trying to manipulate energy. You can't go and it's about harmony and working in balance and harmony. That's, I mean, you just got to think about how nature works. And just like I said, expand how you think, expand your thinking, be logical. And how does nature work? And they use so much with the manipulation and stuff. So, you know, I was thinking that, of course, it's going to be really super scary to somebody who thinks, like, I'm going to cease to exist. I'm not going to be here anymore. If they don't have any spiritual acknowledgement of their soul, if they've shut their soul down so much, they don't want to listen to it, because you go in and you do certain things. Like, I know some people's souls not as loud as mine, but like I said, mine would be like, run, run, you know? So, we all have, I mean, even with my own father, my soul would do that. Like, I was always watching out, telling me when to run and stuff like that. So I, I don't know. I think some people just are really cut off from their soul. I really, really do. I think so many people are they've quieted it because it's brought them pain, because they don't really understand what it's there for. They don't understand that's the balance to ego, and that they need to have both to have balance. So that's why we have so many people just living in ego and have no balance in their lives. So many people, work, 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 trying to get ahead, trying to, meet this, whatever it is that they think of as success, or, where they feel like they've accomplished something, and they're so busy, trying to do that. So they don't have time to listen to, like, their soul. Like, they may tell them to don't do that, go do something else. They may say, hey, don't be upset you lost all those pictures. Your life's just starting. You don't need that. Free yourself from the past. Like, you just have, it's just about, like, tuning in to your purpose, your soul, to who's really talking to you, who's really trying to guide you in the direction that you want to go, that's going to feel good. But there's a lot of time where you go in a direction that doesn't feel good, because you have to learn the lessons so you have a deeper understanding, because there's certain things you don't understand until you learn the lesson. And that's why, and there's so many of these, that's one thing with these spiritual overlords, that they keep trying to have it where you just skip all the parts. Like, you don't have to do all the healing. You just raise your vibration. And it's like, those people are going to be hit when everything spins the other direction. They're going to be hit with having to face themselves. Too, that one woman whose son died, she's right back at it. She's doing the same thing, I guess. She just sits and talks, but I guess apparently her supporter, because the reason I know this is because I saw somebody responding to a comment in her thing, like, how dare you try and, like, your son was just killed and you're just out here acting like smiling and stuff. And so this person who was responding said, she's out there trying to show her healing and trying to help other people heal. She's trying to just put it out there, and that will be beneficial. See, that's an energy that will help people because there's so many people going through so much trauma, and she's so known. So, if she does take her pain and suffering and puts it out there and helps people, if she doesn't acknowledges it and tries to act like, she's all healed, that's the thing, is these people who are trying to act like they're better than somebody else. That's still in that hierarchy energy that we're breaking free from. So you can't take that energy forward. That won't be able to go forward with somebody. The hierarchy is dissolving with this catastrophe. But we are the creators of this catastrophe. And it is our awakening and them trying to stop us awakening and hitting us with all these storms. But it all had to happen this way. It's the natural way of ending this age. And, then they're trying to wipe out so many people. But they're not going to kill everybody because there is the seeders of the new world. And the people who are here were born here to come in and be part of the creators of this new world. Like, to me, I see myself as like somebody who came in with some blueprints or something, but I also have to meet up with all the other people because everybody has their own defined skill set, like that they're bringing to this, the people who are here for this. And then there's people who are here, who are the, like if you think of it in nature, like the queen and then the workers or something. So you have somebody who comes in who's like, oh, I've got the blueprints, this is what we can do. And then you have all the people who are going to do it. So, and it's not like somebody's better than the other. Everybody had to have a role. Everybody had to play a part. And the people who have played the part to bring in the blueprints had to go through some shit. It's not like you got an easy life and then you got to come in and go like, hey, look at this. No, you went through some shit. And you had to continue, like just like in the Lord of the Rings or some kind of movie, no matter what you went through, you had to keep that information and bring it forward. No matter if it humiliated you and embarrassed you, you had to bring that information forward. You had to bare your soul. So, there is a purpose to it. Not everybody's out there bearing their soul. And those people would be the ones who came in to put this stuff into action. That are looking like, what are we supposed to do now? What are we supposed to do now? And, and then there's those of us who can just see, but we don't all have all the information. We have bits and pieces of information because the only way to get the whole picture is unity. You have to come together so that we share the pieces of the puzzle and then we create the picture. So it's us doing all of this stuff. And that is the frustration I find when, with the tedious part of the awakening, and the part that is so tedious is how people just get so stuck and they get so caught up in these paradigms that we're trying to break, like hierarchy. Like I just I was talking about it for a while, like some of these super spirituals. Even when my daughter was here, I was talking about like, what the hell is this dime store spiritual shit that people are teaching? Like, I was saying something about it then, but I didn't know how really big it had become and how toxic it had become, and how often, like, I'm telling you, probably 10 times a day, I hear these people talking about the rudeness and the spiritual TikTok, the arrogance, the way these people behave and talk down to people. And I heard yesterday somebody was putting down one of the people who has a huge following, like huge, like she's got over 1 million, and hers just keeps going up and up and up, and she's really popular. I've sent some of her videos before to like my grandkids, and they're like, oh, I love her, I watch her all the time and stuff. So some of these people have huge followings, and went after her, saying you're putting out the wrong information here, you don't know what you're talking about here, and stuff like that. So, it's going to keep being where people are going to continue to be exposed and being told, and it's what they do with the information. Do they humble themselves, or are they too caught up in ego? Just like what I'm saying, when I'm seeing some of these people and they'll post something and they don't get the conversation that they wanted out of it, and then they become super defensive and super angry and start attacking people, but then they also think they're super spiritual. It's like there's a different way. Like, if you are spiritual, you don't go around trying to hurt people. Like there's an assertiveness of standing up for yourself, but you don't, like, to me it is, you don't engage. Like, I'm not gonna, if somebody I already put a video out and said, if something I say triggers you and you want to come in and attack me, I'm not going to engage with you. Your trigger is your problem. Your trigger is your business. I'm not here to heal you. You have to heal you. And your trigger is the gift that I just handed you so that you can see what needs healing. Like, but people don't realize that when they get triggered like that, that is something in them that needs to heal. Like, for some reason, they think it's something in you that they need to go and take out of you. Like, well, how is that going to help you? How am I going to affect your life? If you come in and you tell me I need to do something different and I go do something different, is it going to help you? Like, people need to see, like, that is where we have gotten ourselves in this position where everybody's like, oh, it's my feelings. Somebody's gonna hurt my feelings. It's like, you can't sit and put your feelings out there like that. It's not like you need to stuff them and hide them, but you need to heal them. Your feelings won't be raw if you go in and heal them and you feel good about yourself. Then somebody can think something, and it doesn't have an effect on you, because you feel good about yourself. And anybody who's putting out negative, toxic kind of speech or shit like that, they aren't healed in themselves. They're carrying wounds and they're just exposing those wounds. Like, oh, look, I'm in a lot of pain here, people. I'm in a lot of pain. But the funny thing is so many people who are exposing themselves are clueless that they are exposing anything. And I keep hearing that. I think I said that like a year ago or something. And I keep hearing that from people now, like my daughter, like, this person's doing this and like they have no awareness, but I can see right through it. Oh, and I'll tell you another thing that I thought, I don't like the labels and stuff that people grab hold of, because it's just, the next step to a diagnosis, because it's just all about the pill. So, but I see these people all the time, an attention deficit and neurodivergent and autistic all kind of go together, which is, I knew I was different from when I was a kid, but they didn't have all those back then. But like I said, like, I knew that, I could be in two places at once. I knew I could do, but I thought something was wrong with me. I really thought something was wrong with me. I had no idea. And so then this girl, she said, I don't remember, she said, as my autistic neurodivergence allows me to be able to see things that other people don't see. And when I see you, that I can see all of your weaknesses, and everything inside of you is exposed to me because I can see how you feel and how you think. And so when you cross me, I have every ability to come in and tear you to pieces without you even understanding how I was able to do that, because of my own awareness. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'd go in and tell her thank you, because, like, oh, I've always been able to do that. And I didn't know. Like, I didn't know that we weren't all living in the same way. Like, I thought that we could all see the same thing, which is really weird, is like, because above the TV, or above my phone right now, is the speakers to my stereo. And I think I'm seeing double, but they're each right here. And it looks like two eyeballs just looking at me. It's really eerie. So it looks like these two eyeballs are just staring at me from the wall. There probably is something. There's so much shit going around right now. I can't even believe it. There keeps being more, it is like more aggressive energy or something. Like, and I don't think of stuff as like on the same level as people with the ghosts and aliens and stuff. It's just all energy. It's all beings. It's all how structured you are able to be, and it's all realities, and all of these realities right next to us. Oh, and that movie too that I watched, there was some stuff that with the ghost stuff that I was like, oh, I think that would be a little different. Like, I can't remember some of the stuff, but the thing that I thought was so cool is how it was going into different realities. Like, she was able to leave her body, go into, I don't think it's called the astral, but it could be. It was that gray space when I came out of my body, and I was going through that gray space where everything looks kind of foggy. and it just is different. You move different and stuff. And so she went into that in the movie. And then I probably know he's going to go in and watch this movie. I can't even remember the name of it. I could look it up if somebody really wanted to see. But it has this love story, and she likes this guy, or they're in love, her and this guy. And he lives in this haunted apartments or something. I think it's apartment complex, but maybe it used to be a hotel or something, but it had a lot of tragedy and death and stuff. So it was like some kind of haunted building. And he gets taken and he gets killed. And so she goes out looking for him, and then she ends up going into the astral or whatever. And she finds him, and he tells her to go back or whatever, because she had somebody kill her so that she could go out of her body. But they were supposed to revive her, and so they're trying to revive her, and she wouldn't come back, and she left with him. It was cool how they did it, because then it showed him, and he was out on this beach, and it was just this beautiful beach. The lighting, everything was just really beautiful, and he's standing there, and then she came just like out on the beach. She didn't just walk up. She just was like suddenly there, because that's what it is like. We transition from reality to reality, and you're just there. Like when you die, it depends on your confusion, what you do. There's a lot of people who are just confused, but you can see, like, man, people are so confused in life. But if you aren't confused, you can just walk out and go into another reality. Most people, if you leave, especially in some traumatic event, you have to go back and reprocess the whole experience. So you have to get yourself like back to feeling good to go and re-enter another one. But so she just went and was there on the beach with them, and then they have this conversation. But it was so cool, because to me, that they really did show how it really is. Like, he left this life, he just went into this one. There was another space in between, and it was very, to me, it was very realistic as to how realities and death works and stuff like that. So there was some more stuff I wanted to say too. I feel like I'm all over the place for sure, but there is like so much stuff. Like, it just really blows my mind of the whole thing, watching people wake up in the process and how it works. But then, I mean, there's so many people around who have not even woke up a little bit. Like, not even a little. Like, it is freaky. I don't just go on and on about some of that stuff, seeing people eat McDonald's and chips and just drinking sodas, and just, it's like, oh my God, you don't know what you're doing. It's just so, and just but then people wake up to it, and then they just freak out and get stuck. And it's like, this is a whole process, this whole awakening process. And I don't know what is going to happen. I mean, is it going to be the storm that's going to hit the southern border? Is that going to be what's going to be the devastation? I mean, there's so many happening all over the place. Like, I can't even believe how much footage I've seen of flooding now all over the place. But that has been how they have ended, these different times in history. And, and so many people who really are so like, this is the end of the world. But it's not the end of us. It's the end of this experience. It's the end of this set. This world is, in the sense of it being in like a movie set, that's ending, but it's clearing it for a way better one, like a really cool one. So, we want this to end, especially as it's exposing how toxic and the direction that we were headed. Oh my gosh, the stuff now that I'm hearing about, like the conspiracy people, or who the new weaponized tax collectors are going after. And one of the things too is, I've heard people talk about, is they want to get them on a felony, because then they can take their stuff away from them. Any of these things, that is the big thing. But that will take a little bit of time. Like, 87,000 compared to millions and millions. Like, they've got some work ahead of them. So, that's good for us because it's a slow process for some of the shit they want to do. And a lot of the stuff is just to terrorize us. But they were definitely headed in a direction where we were just going to be completely unable to live freely. I mean, it's even on those awakening charts and stuff, the whole thing. They're herding us into the cities just for more control. And that's, they're taking out all of the other communities. They're destroying the earth to control us. So, and, that energy won't be able to exist. Just like when you really truly awaken and you really truly do your spiritual work, you can't be mean to people. It hurts you in your soul. You understand, like, oh, this person is just learning something. They're just figuring it out. Like, I gotta allow them to figure their shit out. Like, you just approach life differently. You wouldn't hurt somebody. You wouldn't go steal somebody's stuff. That's why it's truly an awakening. Your healing process, your spiritual awakening is what gets you in. That's your ticket to the new world. But it's not like you're going to be isolated from the new world. If you've got something here that you're supposed to play out and you're transitioning out of this one, this new one is going to be open for everybody. Like, there's going to be a part where it is being seeded and created, and there is going to be a certain group of people who are there as the creators. The ones who at this point in time see that they have power. This isn't the end, this is the beginning. Those people who have that in their soul, they're ready for that. They're here for that. If you don't have that, don't fret about it. Don't be fearful. Your soul knows exactly what's supposed to happen. Nothing's going to happen by accident. You're here to learn from the experience. You can't know that you're not going to learn from this, transition out, and then just go right into the other one. Like, it is the new place to go. It's the new experience place. It's the new earth. It's the new existence. So everybody's going to be going there, and you're going to live way longer. You're not going to have to, it's not going to be like this where people have to constantly die. But, like, how many hundreds of years do we want to be poisoned? Like, we got to freaking, got to keep us moving. But where we're going into the new one is going to be so much different, where we're going to be spiritual. We're going to treat each other with kindness because we feel it inside of ourselves, and we're going to be free. We're going to live on the earth as was intended without having to, pay to exist. So we're going to have resources. We'll be free. We have the opportunity to open up our soul and figure out what we're made of. What do we like to do? And do we have skills? Do we have abilities? And, our own resilience. So anyways, there's just a lot to learn. Everybody's got different stuff they're learning. So there's nothing that you can do wrong in this. There is no, like, where these people sit there and say, well, I'm in 5D, you better hurry up if you're going to, because we're all leaving and you're going to be stuck here and all this stuff. It's not like that. That is their own fantasy world that they created. It is going to be this place, but this place is changing. It's going to be changing. Like, and we have cosmic changes that are going to occur, and we are elevating. So we're going to have contact with other higher beings that are going to come in and help us. So it's a lot of exciting things are going on, and there's nothing to fear. This is, but this is a very traumatic time, and it's part of the process that brings us into that position of healing, of wanting more and appreciating time with people. Like, it's changing us. We are the change. We are the creators. It's our change that creates the new world. And this old world is going away. It has to go away. It can't be a part of the new world. And people who are very attached to the old world, that is that they still have stuff to learn. But since this one is ending and really resetting to a whole new one, then they would go to another place and probably be like what she said. They'd just be picked up, moved to another place, and they wouldn't know anything had changed. They just won't be on this stage. They'll be on another stage somewhere else, living their experience. It's just, people are just so caught up in the lies that they've told people about existence and about who and what they are. But that's the thing, is the people who've been running the show, they know. They know all of this stuff. That's their knowing. And I just saw somebody do this really cool thing, and I went in and looked at the comments, and people were just like outraged. But he was talking about you are God, and he was even explaining the 666 is what we're made up of, 6 protons, 6 electrons, or whatever he was saying. And he did such a good explanation. And the we are the crucifix, put your arms out, like it was really cool, all the stuff he said. But people are just not ready. I mean, they need the Bible, and they need this concept of angels and devils and monsters in the sky and stuff. So, and I don't know. I don't know if whatever's about to disclose the truth is going to show all of that. I know that a lot of people, the truth is going to be their own truth that they have to face. That's what people have to face, is their own truth, the truth to who they are. Just like these spiritual people who are out there all in ego, trying to act like they're better than other people, while other people, because when I say like I'm living in 5D or whatever, that is in here. It is where you choose to look at. So I spend a lot of time in meditation and fantasy land, so that is more to me of living in 5D. It's a state of consciousness. It's your ability to go where you want to go. Just like, even if they put you in prison, they can't hold your consciousness in that room. Your consciousness can go wherever it wants. So that is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know what these other people are talking about. Like, they've transcended this earth, and, we are on this earth. We are here for this experience. We can't get away from it. We have to go through it. It's what's teaching us. It's what we're learning from. And there's just so many people who want to skip all the learning. They just, in learning, enlightenment, spirituality, it's a process. It's a daily practice, and it's a process, a path to enlightenment. It's not just a quick, like, boom. There's several things that you awaken to, several things that you have dark nights about, everything that your ego is attached to that comes up. Then you have to face that. And each one gets easier and easier because you are so familiar with your ego. You're so familiar with what it does. So every time something comes up, that you can face it a lot easier, and you can understand it and heal whatever it is that, and it could take a lot of times. But don't be hard on yourself. You know what I mean? Allow yourself. This whole idea of this is like, this quick thing. It's like their whole thing with fast food and a diploma, it's all nonsense. It's really just a path. It's a process, and you have eternity. So don't be all caught up and like you're not doing enough and you're not doing it fast enough. Like, that's all this nonsense that these people are trying to push on people that is making them feel worse about themselves instead of better. Don't be hard on yourself. Love yourself and enjoy the journey. You're learning, you're expanding, you're growing, and your soul knows exactly what it came here to do. And don't fret. Everything is going to play out. Even if you don't know why you're here, it will continue to play out. You will see why you're here. And everything happens at the point of when you are ready to understand it. It can't happen before you're ready to understand it, because it would just go over your head. So there's certain things you have to heal for each different thing to come in so that you can process. So anyways, hopefully some of that stuff made sense. I swear. Some days I just feel like I could just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Sometimes people will be like, especially on my TikTok, they'll be like, oh my God, I would love to just sit and talk to you all day. Like, I don't know. He probably would be like, God, does she ever shut up? So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.